Welcome, everybody, to a bonus episode of the Alabama Slam Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Hanna.
What's going on, guys? It's Patrick Akers.
And I'm still Steven.
I'm Brayden Toon.
And we got Brayden Toon on the third mic for now on our intro as the, what are you, the GM of For the Love of Pro Wrestling now?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah. Owner, booker, whatever.
Owner, booker, all things For the Love of Pro Wrestling. Tell us a little bit about your new promotion.
Yeah, so like I had this vision ever since I started wrestling is like, why do we wrestle? It's like, it's all aspects of wrestling, and it's just all the answer I can always find is because we love pro wrestling. So I just aimed it for the love of pro wrestling, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. So
love it. I know this show popped up recently, and you're doing another show in Athens. Is that correct?
Yeah, September 14th. Yeah, it's a big one. Big one we've done.
Seen a lot of things. There's Hunter. Seen a lot of things come promoting that on your Instagram, and I'm really excited about that. You made a few big announcements for there. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what can we expect for that show?
See, I don't want to say too much. Tonight, though, a lot's going to get announced for September 14th.
Okay, cool.
Hunter, get out of here, dude. The biggest match of my career probably will be September 14th, okay. I feel like. One of the matches I'm most looking forward to is probably Kevin Ryan's. So that'll be announced today, too. I'm looking forward to that one the most.
Cool, yeah. So by the time this comes out.
Yeah, it'll be announced.
Yeah, you've already announced a couple of names for that one, right?
Yep. Yeah, I got one more. I'll go and say it, Teriyaki. So I got him.
Awesome.
So that's going to be a really fun one.
Cool. Yeah, y'all go follow Brayden on Instagram and Twitter, and you can see who all has been booked for that show already. I think that's going to be a fun one. Yeah. So is this the first official show for the Love of Pro Wrestling, or did I miss one?
We had one... a couple months back at the Cross-Eyed Owl. Okay. That was the first one. So this is the second one, and then September will be the third one. And then that leads to the big one next year. So that one's going to be crazy. So It's all building blocks to what I really, really want to do next year. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been... Patrick has seen you a couple times at some of the GCW shows that were in Huntsville and elsewhere, and I've been telling these guys, like, I've seen you and Hunter run it when you guys had a match a few months ago. And I was like, tonight, Hunter versus Brayden will be at least worth the price of the show. Yeah. So anything else we get on top of that is going to be fun. And you got some great wrestlers booked for tonight. Tell us about who you've got on here. I mean, by the time this airs, it'll be a thing, but we'll talk about it later too.
Jamesen Shook, Marcus Dillon, Brady Payne. I got the Nest. Walker 13's here. I've seen Shook practicing some things. I was like, dude, what are you doing? You're going to keep out of the building, So I think the show's going to be a really good one. Yep. Probably way better than the last one we had. So I think it's something.
You got two title matches on for this one, don't you?
Me and Hunter for the first ever for LPW Central States title. And then Kevin Ryan and Tyler Franks for the heavyweight. So
awesome.
I don't know what to expect for those two. Something good for sure.
Let's talk about your career for a little bit, because you kind of had a rise of sorts these last sort of 12 months. How did you start wrestling? Like, what was your sort of interest? And then what has these last kind of 12 months been for you as you've kind of been booking some bigger indies in America here?
Yeah, so my dad wrestled. And so, like, it was just known to me what wrestling was. And ever since I was younger, it was just like, every Saturday, it was just pro wrestling. So I was like, that's how I got brought into it. And then, never knew how to do anything else outside of wrestling. So I knew like pro wrestling is my calling. So it's like getting these opportunities for like last year, I'd say is like really cool. Like I'll go out somewhere, people know me. And I'm like, this is so not who I've ever thought I would be. Because my father was, he tried his best, but he never really got out there. He had a family. So it was like he couldn't do as much as I can. I have a really good support system. So like, I feel like that's good on my part. He didn't have that. So like, I feel like that's really good to have.
What do you think has contributed to sort of these past 12 months? What do you feel like there's an aspect of your game where you've kind of gotten better?
I think the movements of like getting into moves, you know what I'm saying? Like it's different. And like the storytelling of getting into moves have definitely progressed, because I started when I was 15. So I was just doing moves and taking bumps I didn't have to. Like being around people like Jordan Oliver, Cole Radrick, even Hunter Drake, it's just like you don't have to do those things. If you make a DDT into something that's bigger than a DDT itself, is just something that like no one can explain. So if like saving my body and also like doing transitions into getting into moves, it just helps my game be 10 times better than what it was 5 years ago, for instance.
That's what I tell these guys all the time on the podcast. I'm like, it's little things. Because I did this at a very small scale many moons ago. But I was like, you can learn all the moves, but what makes you good is your combinations, how you get into those moves, your anticipation, that sort of thing. So
that making those small things mean more as opposed to just piling.
For sure. You know, like
we kind of go back and forth about whether we're a character or work guys. You a character or a work guy?
A work guy. You know, like
we're making t-shirts. Teamwork. Teamwork.
Yeah. You know, like I'm unkillable, but like it's not really a character. More of a persona, a nickname, you know. I feel like I'm more of a work rate guy, you know. That's okay with me. You know, eventually I feel like I can, you know, evolve into a character, which I know would take my game to the next level. So like maybe one day, but right now I feel like I'm a work rate guy, and that's okay for me right now on this level. You know, like next 3-4 years, I would like to be a character, absolutely. So yeah, for sure.
I tell my wife every time I come home from an event when I've seen you wrestle, I was like, this guy could be the next like Kevin Steen, KO. And then last night, she's gotten into watching wrestling with me some in the last year. She was in the other room because Rhea Ripley's out, so she's kind of out right now. So I texted her. I was like, "Hey, Kevin's doing crazy shit tonight," and she was like, "I sent her a GIF of it later, what he was doing from the crowd, you know, the jump and everything." And she was like, "Man's gonna break every bone in his body one day." And I was like, "Well, maybe so, but you know, to me, that's what he and I argue with him a lot about work versus character." And so that's one of the things. I love KO's quote unquote character, but I also love the quality of his work.
And don't get me wrong, you need a little bit of both to do everything, you know, to really succeed. But you know, the character puts them butts in the seats.
Sure, for sure, absolutely.
So what did you know? We talked about your last 12 months. What does the future look like for you? Do you have any kind of goals in mind here in the near future?
I definitely want to go to Japan in the future.
That's what I was going to ask.
That's where, like, if I never get signed, that's okay. I'm okay with that. Japan is where I want to be. You know, like, even like Mexico's okay with me. Anywhere that I've been to Mexico once, Tijuana for GCW, but I want to be a regular in Japan, Mexico, Germany. I want to go to WXW. You know, like, I just want to do something bigger than myself. I feel like that's, you know, my goal for the next year and a half.
And you have been tearing up the area around. I mean, you got New Jersey, you've been California, you've been both sides of the coast, kind of working your ass off around here.
Yeah, I've been trying. You know, my dad always told me it's not going to come to you. You got to go get it. So like, I do everything I can to go get it. You know, so like, I think a lot. You know, I think Faith, my girlfriend, every day of like, hey, like, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this thing. You know, if you wouldn't hold the home down, like, I couldn't do none of this. So like a lot of like my success for last year is definitely like all to her. And then she knows that. I try to tell her every day, you know, like this show today wouldn't happen without her. Like she like made the sign, she's taking tickets, running concessions, making sure I'm okay, the workers are okay. Like, so a lot of like where I want to be is with her, and where I have been is for her too. So like I feel like a support system for any pro wrestler has to be there. If not, then you can only get yourself so far, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, and you're in an interesting spot too. Indie wrestling is in an interesting spot because, like, I don't know how many people are anticipating here tonight, but like potentially, if someone posts a clip on TikTok, some promoter in California could see or whatever like that. Talk to me a little bit about that. Just that with so many streaming sites now, the sort of visibility of guys like you who are doing stuff in Alabama, but that's how you make it up to GCW.
Yeah, so it's like. Go back to my dad, you know, like he started like a long time ago. So he would always tell me, yeah, we'd have to trade VHSs. I'm like, yeah, do what? He's like, what do you mean? I was like, dude, I just can post this really cool GIF of me doing a shooting star press and I can blow up. He's like, I didn't have that. And I'm like, well, I'll do. Yeah. You know, like, for instance, I haven't really discussed it, but I've noticed I started like getting traction when Jordan Oliver retweeted the shooting star press I did. It got like 17,000 views. And that's when I started noticing like I'm getting bookings and people are like following me more. And so it's like, you can have a GIF, but it's also like who retweets and shares your GIF too has a lot to do with it, you know, like, so I feel like, you know, like you said, you get a GIF, anybody can see it, you know, and especially if, you know, like a name like Jordan Oliver, Cole Radrick, or even like a Brett Lauderdale retweets it, it's like, damn, like that's super sick, you know, and it can take you to the next level in a matter of months to a year.
Yeah. And I feel like the community is very uplifting of each other in a way that maybe it wasn't back in 2008 when I was trying to do something a little bit more cutthroat. Seems like now you guys are really like, you know, rising tide raises all ships. Or
I feel like now it's more of a teamwork thing, you know, like me and Hunter are boys, we've always been boys, you know, so it's like he succeed, he wants me to succeed. And he'll put in a word for me, I'll put in a word for him. You know, like, so it's just like, we all want each other to eat. But at the end of the day, we all know, like, only one of us can make it to the top. And we're okay with that. But we also want our boys to be there with us. You know, so it's like, my dad told me that too. He's like, there's no friends in this business. And I'm like, maybe when you wrestled. But now I got a lot of pretty good homies, you know, like, so it's like, it definitely like it's changed for sure.
So where's Hunter from? Is he from North Alabama or is he from Tennessee?
He's from Scottsboro.
Okay.
But he moved to Tennessee.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Dude.
we'll get him on mic shortly.
You bored, dude? I'm sorry.
Got some watchers
Now,
here.
you're talking about having friendships in here, but tonight you're facing off against Hunter.
Yeah, I'm gonna beat his ass, dude. That's the first
that's
time
what I
for
wanna
PW champion.
Brayden Toon doesn't have any chance against me. Brayden Toon couldn't whoop my ass if my ass was up for sale.
All right, dude. We'll calm down, brother. We'll calm down, dude. Yep.
Yeah, I caught a quick. I did meet your dad at the last show I saw you at when you won the championship over in Florence, and I saw you were celebrating, and I saw him after the show outside, and I was like, "You're Brayden's dad, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You got a good one in there. You can tell he's proud of you." And we talked for just a minute or so, and then I took off. But yeah, he's super proud. You do have a really good support system around you. It seems like it's super important. And then obviously you got buds like
My buds, yeah.
coming to rub your ear.
I'm trying to be serious. Yeah, I'm trying to be serious. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, unless you guys have anything else, do you want to give the listeners, where they can follow you and get details about the upcoming shows and everything else?
You can follow me on Twitter at Toon1223 _1223. Instagram's Toon_Brayden. And then Facebook is just Brayden Toon. And then you can follow the wrestling page. It's 4LP Wrestling. That's to keep up with all the dates on the show, upcoming shows and stuff.
All right, guys, we're back with Jamesen Shook. We're going to get a quick interview with him here. Jamesen, before we get started, go ahead and tell everybody where they can follow you on social media and such.
Oh, man, I got to pull up my phone because I don't even remember my own social media, which is probably a bad thing.
I know on Twitter, your name says Jamesen Shook, parentheses, blue check mark.
Oh, absolutely. On Twitter or X, whatever it's called nowadays, jshook_75. And then on Instagram, because I'm not giving out my Facebook, it's just Jamesen Shook. Or it's Jamesen_Shook. Jamesen is with an EN at the end. So yeah, that's right. I'm different.
So I may be incorrect, but you're from the Chattanooga area, correct?
Yes. TWE is where I train. It's a great place, great home for me, and home to a lot of great wrestlers. People who are here are now regulars on this show, like Brayden Toon, Hunter Drake, Tyler Franks, Kevin Ryan now. I hate Kevin Ryan, but he's on there. Him and Chris. I hate them both. But TWE has become a big home for me, and Chattanooga's becoming a hotbed for wrestling again, and I love it. So
awesome. Were you part? I don't remember what promotion it was, but there was a promotion several months back where I think there was a Rumble or something, and Corey Ryan Forrester, aka the Buttercream Dream, was part of that. Were you in there on that?
Oh, the SCI Rumble, Buttercream Dream. No, I was not. I was actually at Hoss Night 2 at New South.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. Yeah, I saw you in night 1 over there. I missed night 2, but
I had one of the longest matches in history.
I mean, I was
30 seconds of it.
I was literally. I have a video. I'll show you when we get done. I was literally in the front row right before you, and I was like, "Oh my god, this man is I
almost died. That's an experience that taught me never to do that again.
Yeah, there were flyers and things, right? For jokes that were like "R.I.P. Jamesen."
So back when Chris Crunk was my friend, yes, we he did make a thing. It was like, dude, you almost died. You can make money off this. And I said, well, I guess I could. And I ended up walking out with like $80 because I almost died. But it was dying well spent, I guess. I don't know.
We hate the circumstances, but you walk up $80 richer when you leave. That's cool. Well, tell us a little bit about like your start in wrestling and just your journey on the road and such before we get too much further.
Oh, man. My start in wrestling, started at TWE Chattanooga. Jaden Newman trained me. My first ever match was with Aaron Wade, which is funny because me and Aaron Wade have wrestled like 100 times since then, but they've all been pretty good. And he's like one of my best friends in wrestling. I think he's a horrible person when he's in the ring, like low blowing people, poking them in the eye. I was like, dude, the hell. There were points in times like at the beginning of the year where I thought to myself, like, I don't really want to wrestle anymore because like it sucks and my body hurts because I'm an idiot. Because I do stupid bumps. Like I land on the floor all the time, and you're going to watch I'm doing something dumb tonight. So, then like I got in with, again, back when he was my friend, Chris Crunk and Kevin Ryan, they kind of like built me back up. And then all of a sudden like, oh, I like wrestling again. So now I'm here. I hurt. I'm in pain. I've had a lot of matches. Like my first year, I tallied 89 matches.
Jesus.
This year, my goal is 100. I don't know if I'll make it. I hope I do. I'm crawling to that finish line right now with my body, but I think I'll be able to make it. I'm very confident that I can make that.
You talk about wanting to kind of hang it up because the body's giving out. Why keep doing the stupid things?
Oh, dude, people love it. People love it, and it just and it does. Which I hate saying this because it makes me sound like, I don't know if I can say this, an attention whore, but it does get a lot of attention on social media, and that will draw eyes to you. Mm-hmm. So as dumb and as stupid as the things that I do are, people will see it. They'll be like, oh, I wonder what he's doing next. I mean, there's guys who do dumb things all the time on the indies who just became like names, like Mr. Danger at GCW jumped off a ladder and did a swanton onto a body of people. And now he's like a semi-regular on GCW, and people know who he is. And people get excited and go to shows to see that. That's kind of the buzz that I'm trying to create, is like, oh man, that kid is a moron, but he's a fun moron.
Well, Brayden did tell us, he's like, we've already gone through some pre-show things, and he's like, Jameson's got some crazy shit in store. And he said all it takes is one GIF retweet from the right person, and you're in front of 17,000 eyeballs or whatever.
I mean, like, I'm trying. I can't even think of the person's name, but oh man, I just lost the whole story now.
Well, we talk about Darby Allin a lot.
Darby. So SCI, when Darby was in the Scenic City Invitational, I wasn't wrestling at this point because I started in 2022. Like in December was my first match of 2022. So I've only been wrestling for like a year and a half, a little more than that. So Darby Allin did like this crazy ass dive. My friend Dylan Hales will tell the story. This crazy ass dive off a basketball hoop. And nobody caught him but Dylan Hales. And this is like, wow. Which basketball hoops, 10 feet in the air, whatever. But then he jumps off the basketball hoop. Yeah. So that's at least 15 feet. 15 feet doesn't sound like a lot until you're 15 feet in the air. And it's a lot. And then he jumps, and Dylan's the only person that catches him. People see that, and people are like, oh, he does this all the time. Because then he had a match. Well, it might have been before that. He had the match with Swerve Strickland at Defy. Yeah. That crazy hardcore match. And then all of a sudden he's in AEW. And it's the same thing with Swerve, because he did the CZW Cage of Death. He did the match with Darby, and now he's killing it.
Yeah. Well, Patrick calls him good time, but not for a long time. Darby Allin.
Darby, me too, man.
Good time, not for a long time. So, not to get too philosophical about pro wrestling here, but this promotion is called For the Love of Pro Wrestling. You said that, earlier this year you thought about maybe hanging it up. Why did you not? And what is it that pro wrestling sort of gives you as a person that makes you keep doing it?
So the things that pro wrestling has given me is not the wrestling in general. Like, I love wrestling. Absolutely. It's what I wanted to do since I was a kid. And now that I'm doing it, I'm having a lot of fun. At the beginning of the year, I hated it. I hated the pain my body was in. Mentally, it sucked. And I was just like, why am I driving 2 hours everywhere I go for literally nothing? And then, like, again, I met Chris Crunk, Kevin Ryan back when they were my friends. I hate both of them now. They can literally bite my butthole. And I hate them both. They kind of like got me back into it. And then the other thing wrestling's got me is the people. So like Crunk, Kevin back in the day, of course, but like Jaden, one of my boys, CJ Lawler, one of easily my best friends, Dylan Hales, even though like he puts me on shows, that's like one of my best friends outside of wrestling. Casey Owens, like, it's given me a lot of people to like fall back on. So that's kind of like why I'm saying is like, well, I love these people, and if I leave, I'm worried that I'll never see them again. So I was like, I'll stay. So I'd love it.
Gotcha.
Brayden was talking about his dream being Japan or Mexico. You got a pro wrestling dream that you're hoping will?
My goal is to stay booked right now, which I'm doing a pretty decent job at it. Like every weekend for the rest of the year, I'm booked, which is great. And I love that. I will have Gary's here. I will have to. There's probably weekends I will have to pull because I'm running my own show in Chattanooga at the TWE Arena, which is crazy to me. The traction it's gotten. What up? The traction that's gotten, where I'm wrestling John Wayne Murdoch in a death match, which is so dumb. But man, I'm excited. I
can see the sparkle in your eye.
Oh, dude. When I dropped that match announcement, I almost cried. I was so happy, dude. I'm just fired up because that's like one of the matches I want to wrestle, and I'm pretty sure it'll be good, and death matches are fun. So I love it.
Awesome.
I don't even know if I answered your question, but I tried.
Well, we asked this to Brayden. So are you more of a work guy or a character guy?
Oh, I'm a work guy, man. Like, so the thing with me is my character to me is literally just me turned up to 12.
Yeah.
And again, going back to like the dumb bump things, people will see you do these dumb bumps, but they're like, dude, he's doing this for us. He's risking our body for us, or his body for us. Like, I want to get behind this guy and I want to cheer for him. So I don't really have a character per se. It's just me, but like I'm definitely a guy who will go out there and just do my best to give you something to remember. That's another thing with the dumb bumps. I want someone to remember something to where like, hey, I remember on, for example, for the love of pro wrestling, Jamesen Shook did something stupid like he dove into a crowd of chairs and almost died. Like, but I want to see that again because that dude put his body on the line for us. Yeah. So that's kind of like in my head what I am to people is like, hey, that's our moments guy. And I'm going to give people moments to remember.
Gotcha. Awesome, man. Well, unless you guys got anything else, we'll let you get back to it.
We're good.
All right, man. Thanks for taking some time with us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much.
Appreciate you. Yeah, we're back with Hunter Drake. Hunter, this is obviously not the first time you've wrestled Brayden Toon.
Brayden Toon and I go way back, man. I've known that kid since he was like 15 years old. Met him about 5 years ago. I've wrestled him probably like 7 times. And, pretty even back and forth matchup. But the last time we wrestled, Brayden Toon beat me. Brayden Toon beat me for the New South Championship. And I have not been back in Decatur, Alabama since. So I came back for one reason. And that was to get my win back on Brayden and to put him back in his place. That little brother role that he is to me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was at that show. It was a fun show. Hoss Night 1, I believe, over there in Florence.
Yeah, that night Brayden got a fluke.
Yeah, I texted these guys a couple days ago. I was like, if you haven't seen these two guys wrestle, I was like, look them up. I was like, I know they always post things on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, but I ended up looking at YouTube and there's at least 1 or 2 matches up there.
Oh, yeah.
You guys.
Oh yeah, we've wrestled at least once a year since I've met him one-on-one. So
gotcha.
About 6 or 7 matches, I'd say.
Well, tell us a little bit about, I know you're doing a lot of GCW shows these days. Tell us a little bit about, well, who you've gotten to wrestle there and life on the road with some of those guys.
Yeah. Those guys are awesome. I've gotten to wrestle some pretty top names. Jordan Oliver. I got to wrestle the Los Macizos. I got to wrestle One El Bandito. I've got last weekend or 2 weekends ago, I did a 3-day loop. I wrestled Gino Rivera. And then the next night, that was in Denver. Then the next night in LA, I wrestled Zilla Fatu and Bobby Flacco. And then that Sunday, I wrestled the ROH Women's Champion, Billy Stark. So I've gotten to do some pretty cool things with them, man. They're really giving me some opportunities, and I'm taking the most that I can out of them.
Gotcha.
What do you think has led to these opportunities that you've been getting here recently? What do you think over the past 6 months you've kind of improved as a wrestler?
I would say I've always been consistent with my in-ring and with everything. But recently I've started trying to take my look more serious, trying to look more like a top star. I've tried to up my in-ring game and trying to just really do things that nobody's ever done before. Like my finishers, stand on the back, drop into a code red. I just started doing like 2 weeks ago, the Purple Haze. That has gotten a lot of love because people are like, I've never seen that before. So I've really just tried to think outside the box more and stop being such a stereotypic indie wrestler and start just being creative and being me.
How difficult is that? Because now it seems like there's more talented men and women in wrestling than there probably has ever been in history. Yeah, I'm sure it's tough to kind of stand out.
Oh yeah, it's definitely hard. I mean, so many people do the same things and it's about who does it the best, yes. But if you can just do something different and do something that really gets people all out of their seats and blows their mind, I mean, I think that alone mixed in with talent is going to take me as far as it can,
Can take us through the journey that got you here into pro wrestling? I mean, what started the love for it?
Oh, yes, sir. So when I was 8 years old, I was in, I think, 1st grade, 2nd grade. And I had a buddy, he's like, you ever watch wrestling? No. He's like, oh, watch this channel tonight at this time. So I started watching Raw, and it was really John Cena that made me fall in love. I was always a big John Cena kid. I was hustle, loyalty, respect, never give up. He was the Superman to me. Almost like Jamesen Shook. Almost. You'll get there one day. But yeah, dude, so that was about 2009. And then I watched wrestling all my life. And then when I was about 14, we turned our trampoline into like a wrestling ring. We put 4 posts and we put ropes around it. And we started a backyard wrestling fed. And ever since that, we found training out of that. We started training, and it's been up from here. I actually started training like 5 minutes up the road here in Decatur, Alabama, every Sunday for like 2 years.
Hell yeah.
And then I started at New South, and then started having more matches. Eventually, just more opportunities grew from there.
I just wanted you to know you just made me feel super old because you're like the first wrestler I've ever interviewed that was like, yeah, John Cena was the reason.
Oh man, dude! Now
we're at that level, so we're old now, guys.
You, dude. I loved him.
We're all dudes that grew up. Well, Patrick's a little behind me and Steven, but we grew up watching shit in the early to mid 80s, you know,
I remember a Ric Flair and Wahoo McDaniels match. I'm old.
Yeah. Oh man. No, I went back and watched all those eras, and man, all of it. It's just, I love wrestling. I don't dislike any wrestling. No time periods, nothing. I always find something to enjoy no matter what the match is. I will find something that I like out of it just because I love wrestling. So
yeah. Hell yeah.
And what has it been like with this community that you guys have? You obviously, you know, with like Brayden, with Kinsey Page, Alabama. All disclosure, at 2008, 2009, I used to do this for a little bit, not at any kind of level, was not talented. But like in that time period, if you were somebody, you had to be in New Jersey or New York and that kind of thing. What is it like now to see sort of the Southeast and really North Alabama become a hotbed like this?
Yeah, it's so awesome. It's so awesome being alongside those guys and girls who are making this like a revolution. That when I first started, all the top stars were from Jersey, LA, like the West Coast, and up north, and the South was kind of under the radar. And it's really cool, like the youth movement that has happened within the past 3 years, to where it's guys like myself, 23, got girls like Kinsey, who's 22, and the NWA World Women's Champion, and guys like Brayden, Tyler Franks. There's so many, Jamesen Shook, like all of us in the South, even in Georgia with Mr. Danger, Teriyaki, Rico Gonzalez, Brogan Finley, who's in NXT now. Like,
yeah, I think I saw Brogan's last indie show in Florida.
Right? Yes, that was Brogan's last indie show last November. But yeah, it's really awesome. Even Jay Malika, he's now wrestling for the NXT Championship. Like, the youth movement is such a great thing to see and be a part of. And I can't wait to see how much we can grow this till the young guys are on top, you know?
Yeah. Didn't you do something recently with the NWA that they were shooting for TV? And was it Knoxville? With Dylan and,
yeah, I did. We shot TV there. I did taping. I did like a fatal 4-way match.
Yeah. Do you know anything about when that airs? Or?
Yeah, it airs in September.
Sweet.
So it airs a little while away. So I can't give out any details.
Sure, yeah.
But I can say that I did have a fatal 4-way match for a NWA championship.
Gotcha.
So that's all I can say for now. But
awesome.
when it comes out, make sure to tune in because it was a really good matchup and it was a great opportunity.
Let's squeeze it this way. I think these guys are trying to get this. Hey, guys, you can come on through.
Yeah, if you need to go up to the bathroom, yeah.
Yeah.
And just push me next time.
We asked Brayden this question too, but this promotion is called For the Love of Pro Wrestling. Like, what has pro wrestling given you as a person? What do you get out of it? Why do you think pro wrestling is important?
Oh man, pro wrestling to me is important because there was a time in my life where I felt like I had nothing and nobody. I was at my lowest point and I was ready to give up. And then the only thing I had to do I sat in my room for probably 4 months, just didn't want to leave the house, didn't want to do anything but sit there and mope and feel bad for myself. And the only thing I would do is watch wrestling, study wrestling, watch wrestling, go to wrestling shows, come home, watch wrestling. And so, I mean, pro wrestling legit saved my life. So I just want to give back to pro wrestling what pro wrestling has gave to me. I want to give back that love that I feel like every time I'm watching Raw, SmackDown, TNA, NXT, freaking AEW, Ring of Honor, it doesn't matter. I want to give back that love that every time I'm watching, I feel like I receive.
Hell yeah.
You're talking about how you had your love, you started training for it, and you're kind of looking forward to that future generation coming up. For those that are kind of in that 2009 mentality that you are now,
yes.
What advice would you give them to kind of start off?
Man, just keep being yourself and stay true to you no matter what. I mean, only you know what's going to work for you and what's going to get you to the top. People can tell you whatever they want. A lot of people like to tell me I'm undersized and I'm too small, but I know what works for me and I know what's going to stand out amongst a group of wrestlers who are all maybe bigger than me, but they're all just another memory because they're all running the same stuff. And I know I know my talent and my ability, and I believe in myself. And I think the number one thing in pro wrestling is believe in yourself and believe what your heart tells you, and just follow that, and you'll go as far as you're meant to.
Hell yeah. I think that's a good way to end, guys.
Just look at that send off.
Yes, sir.
Go home answer.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you for your time. All right, guys. It's post show. We just saw a very fun show. I believe it was the second show from Fort Level Pro Wrestling. As Brayden was saying earlier, they had one show before. Give me your initial thoughts real quick post show, Stephen and Patrick.
I loved it. There is something about going to a local indie show and seeing all the guys and girls bust their ass. It was kind of cool too, because we were kind of sitting close to like some kids. And I mean, not to get too like sentimental and mushy here, but like to these kids, man, these guys are like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Like it is that for little kids, and just having shows like this and having people that go out and put on these matches and obviously care about pro wrestling and fostering a love of the art form for future generations and for people. I don't know. I just think it's really cool. I have that sappiness about it.
You got that intimacy that you don't get in like the big shows kind of thing, where you can get up close, personal, and interact. You never know when you might have to get up and run.
And like I said, the talent is a lot better than what it was, when I was doing this in 2008. Like the guys are crazy athletic. In the main event, we almost saw something I've never seen before, which is a top rope Spanish fly that almost went outside of the ring because the ring was a little small. Never seen that before. And yeah, Tyler Franks and Kevin Ryan, they killed it at the end. I thought that was the best match, and I thought everybody worked hard and all the matches were good, but I think that one was
no. They went out of their way to put on a great show. I mean, you get the adrenaline pump and you get the crowd reacting. Yes, that's the joy of pro wrestling right there in a nutshell, man.
Yeah, for sure. The two title matches I think stood out to me. Kevin Ryan retains over Tyler Franks in the main event, and then Brayden Toon retained over Hunter Drake for his title as well.
The guy we interviewed, Jamesen Shook, he had a good showing too.
Yeah, man. Jamesen, three matches tonight.
Putting it overtime, putting it where he told us he was going to do some stupid shit,
and he did.
Yeah. So
believe him when he says it.
Yep. And he also cursed the name of Sami Zayn because he's a redhead, did the haluva kick, and
did not pay off for him.
Didn't work for him.
Yeah. Any other standouts for you guys, man? I thought a fun night of wrestling all around, but we talked to the main event.
I thought Tyler Franks had
a great showing.
I am the podcast physique guy. So dudes who are in shape and like they're putting in work. You said you saw him.
I feel like I saw him a couple of years ago, and he was not nearly as in shape as he is now. Dude put in the work, and it shows, and put on a hell of a show tonight.
Yeah, I thought he was a standout. Yeah,
we had some great character work too. I mean, we had Space Cowboy and his tags. With what is it?
Dylan Payne, I believe. Right?
Brady Payne.
Brady Payne.
Space Cowboy with the PBR cowboy hat.
Yes.
It's a look.
Shout out.
Fighting off against the Nest and Walter.
Nest and Walker 13.
Yeah, Walker 13. Big dude.
Big dude. He is.
Big old guy.
Intimidating fella.
Yeah. They slap the shit out of each other.
Laying them chops in. Yeah.
Chops in. Yeah. But no, I enjoyed it, man. I loved it. Check them out. For the Love Pro Wrestling.
Yeah,
online.
Man. Got a couple upcoming shows here, Decatur and Athens, it looks like.
Said August 3rd, Decatur at the Cross-Eyed Owl.
Yeah, it should be fun there. Beer will be served, right?
And then the other one he said was going to be
in
at
Clements High School at Athens in September.
September 14th, I think he said.
Yeah, and they announced Marco Stunt for that show tonight. I think Fuego del Sol is already announced.
Marcus Mathers was announced, another kind of GCW
stalwart. Marcus Mathers versus Kevin Ryan.
Yeah.
Should be really fucking fun. So follow For Love of Pro Wrestling on Twitter and Instagram. It's 4LP Wrestling. Give those guys a shout, man, and get out and support local wrestling. Yep. We watch it on TV every week and we review a lot of the things that happen, but it is way more fun to go to a show and be able to sit, with.
Yeah, there's something about the mob mentality of it where, you get yourself surrounded, whether it's music, whatever. Wrestling is just like that. You get that mob mentality and that crowd going with you.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
and
there's nothing like it.
You never know. You never know which one of these guys might pop off and you can say, hey, I saw him for $10 in a room of 50 people. So.
For sure. All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. And follow us if you don't already on Twitter, Threads, and Instagram at Alabama Slam Pod. We typically release every Wednesday unless something comes up. We usually go about AEW and WWE, but I am also usually pretty fond of when I go to a local show, shouting out the local shows as well. And I'm hopefully going to get Patrick and Steven involved in a couple more with those, especially if they're here in your hometowns.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that's got to do the driving. So, yeah, follow us if you don't already. We'd appreciate it. And share us with a friend. And we will see you all
Share us
soon.
with an enemy.
And an enemy. Yeah, fuck those guys, too. We'll talk to y'all soon.